This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so this is our second official class in Greek 2, and tonight we're going over the homework from the chapter 6, which is the nominative and accusative cases. So we're going to start off with some parsing. After we do the parsing, then we're going to do some sentence translations. So I'm going to start in the room with me. So Sammy, can you parse anthropon?
Try. The case is accusative, right?
Okay. How do you know it's accusative?
From the new at the end?
Yep. So that's part of it.
It's singular
Mm-hmm.
and masculine. The lexical form anthropos. And the meaning person.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Okay, so I want to do a quick walkthrough of how you can do these and always find the answer. So we notice that this one ends in a new, right? By ending in a new, we know that we have one of these endings, okay? All right, because they all end in a new. We look back at this and we see that it doesn't just end in a new, it's an omicron new. So being an omicron new, we have eliminated this as a possibility because first declension words end in alpha or eta. Okay. Now, from this point, you have to know what the lexical form is. So since it comes from anthropos, and we know that whenever a word in the nominative form ends in a sigma, it's masculine, we've eliminated this column. Because of that, we're left with one possibility, which is accusative singular masculine. Does everyone understand how I arrived at that? When we parse things, we're working backward, and we start with the ending. So if you get a word, we're going to get to one of these. If you notice, there is only one of these that ends in upsilon sigma. So you know, without looking at the word at all, if it ends in upsilon sigma, it has to be an accusative plural masculine. That's all it can be. Any questions on that? Okay. Next one. Yep.
Okay, it's cases nominative.
Let's start off, I didn't say this with Sammy, but let's start off by saying, pronouncing the word.
I have no idea.
All right, so we've got our rough breathing here, okay? So what does that mean it sounds like?
Along O.
That's what the omega says, but what does the rough breathing make what sound? So that's the H sound. So it's
Ha. Ha.
it's a longo. Ho.
Ho. Ho. Hora. Hora.
Horai.
Oh, alright.
So this sound is like a long I, like an aisle.
Alright.
Horai. Okay. Now can you parse it?
The case is nominative,
Nominative.
and the number is plural,
It is plural.
and the gender is feminine,
It's feminine.
and the lexical form is omega rho alpha.
Do you know how to say that?
Well, it will have to be har,
Oh, I did it wrong.
har, har, ho, hurrah, hurrah,
Hurrah.
oh, hurrah.
Okay. And what's the inflected meaning of that?
Hour.
Hour.
Whew.
Actually, hours, because it's plural. But close enough. All right. Let's have Victoria do this one.
Basileus, accusative, plural, feminine, from Basileia, meaning kingdoms.
Anyone have any questions on that one? Okay. Just a couple more questions to kind of cement this. What would be the stem? Spell it for me.
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Just spell out the stem part of it.
Beta, alpha, sigma, iota, lambda, epsilon, iota, alpha.
Okay. So basically here. And by having a stem that ends in an alpha, that makes this
Feminine.
It does, but I'm looking for a more generic term. Without just saying it.
The lexical form.
No, I'm looking for a word, but I can't. It is the lexical form, but it's the lexical form because this particular group of words don't have an ending in the nominative singular feminine.
I don't understand what you're asking.
It's a first declension word.
Oh,
First
okay.
declension word.
Yes.
It's not typically, so yes, most first declension words are feminine, therefore they end in alpha. But it's not the fact that it ends in an alpha that makes it first declension. That makes it feminine. It's the fact it's a first declension word that ends in an alpha. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Because there are feminine words that aren't first declension, but almost all first declension words are feminine. Okay. We're going to get to third declension, I think chapter 10. And I know this sounds like a weird thing to be picky about, but it's because if you understand the concept now, when we get to third declension, it's a lot less complicated. All right, Gregory. Parse ta.
Nominative or accusative, right?
Can you speak up just a little bit? It's hard to hear you.
Nominative or accusative.
Yep.
Is it singular? Or can it
It's
be
singular
and plural? And it's
So-
neuter.
Okay. All right. What is the lexical form? What's that?
I'm not completely sure on what the lexical form would be.
Okay. So anytime there is a word that has multiple forms, like the adjectives are this way, and technically an article is a type of adjective, the lexical form is going to be the nominative singular masculine form. So what is the nominative singular masculine form of the article?
I'm
Is
not
that up?
sure. Is it ha?
It's ha. Yeah.
And
And
the
what is it?
meaning is the.
What's that?
And its inflected meaning is the.
Okay. Good job. So Gregory points out here, and the reason it says times 2, the nominative and the accusative form of the neuter are the same. And that's actually true in both the singular and the plural. That's one of our noun rules, is that the neuter in the nominative and the accusative is almost always the same. And that is a rule that continues into the third declension. All right. Woodbury. Kind of already answered this one. Give me the next victim, person who wants to participate.
Logous.
Logos.
Okay.
Logos.
Logous. Your stem word is logo.
Okay.
So that makes it. Hang on. I'm coming. So is it accusative plural?
Yep.
Aha.
Gender.
Masculine or feminine?
Oh, it's masculine.
Okay. Lexical form.
Lexical form is
Logos.
logos, Logo. And then,
All right. Inflected form.
oh,
Inflected
words.
meaning.
Words.
Word.
Well, with an S, because it's plural.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yep.
okay. Now, now.
All right.
Period.
Jen, you want to do this one?
Sure. Let me.
K-A-R.
Corrupt. I don't know. I can't. Pronunciation's hard.
Okay. So it's your regular K sound. This sound is like a long I sound, R, and this is like the oi.
Roy.
Hello? Oink.
Kai Roy.
Yep. All right.
Sounds bad.
Hi, Roy. Can you parse it?
Kai Roy. Okay, I've got nominative, plural, masculine.
Okay. Lexical form.
Kairos.
Kairos. And inflected meaning of that.
Seasons.
Yeah, seasons I think is probably the best one. I guess it could be times, but I don't really think of times as a word. So seasons I imagine would be the most intuitive way to translate that. All right. Stand there.
He is.
He went to the bathroom.
Speak up, Stan.
He says Jerry has his homework.
Jerry ate his homework. Is that what?
Yeah, Jerry ate his homework.
I let him borrow my homework, the copy, and he never gave it back.
All right. So let's just give this one a shot.
Okay.
Go ahead and give it a shot at pronouncing it.
Accusative semicolon. Is that right?
All right. Start off by, can you say the word?
Christoph,
Kriston, yep. So case,
it is accusative,
okay. Number,
singular,
singular. Gender,
masculine,
lexical,
Christos,
with the Erasmian to be Christos, but yes,
Christos.
because it's an Omicron.
Wait,
That's a nitpicky thing, but I think I told you guys before, the reason I use the Erasmian pronunciations is because if you hear me say it, you know how to spell it just by me pronouncing it, because it's consistent with the way that each letter is pronounced. It's only pronounced one way. All right, inflected meaning.
big Christ,
Christ or Messiah.
Messiah,
Or anointed one if you wanted to really get at it. Because here's the problem. This is a transliteration. This is a transliteration. So this is the Greek transliteration. This is the Hebrew transliteration. And this is what it actually means. But I'll say that we've attached so much baggage to each of these words that it's sort of lost the meaning that it's really based upon. I think the word Christos and just the concept of Messiah is something that we have lost because we use the word so much without ever stopping to think what it means. This is a tangent, but I was listening to a lecture on what he described as sacred words, and he said, when you go into the average person and say, the average church member and say, what does sanctification mean? They're probably going to give you some canned answer that they've learned the definition for, but they probably never actually thought about it. And I think we're studying words. That's why I bring this up. Whenever we start learning these words and whenever you memorize vocabulary, I challenge you to really think about what that word means, because you're going to notice, especially words like this, there's 6 definitions for them. So does that mean the word means 6 different things? Well, not necessarily. Sometimes it means one thing, but we can't bring that idea over. It means all 6 of those things at once, but you can't represent that in English. So, all right. So, is Kathy the 4th person?
You said that's okay, but there's no more words. I want another word like that.
All right, I will help, okay? All right, you ready?
No, but go ahead.
So I told you, let's start off this way. We're going to translate the individual words, and then we're going to rearrange it in a sentence that makes some amount of sense. And they've already done the first one for us, okay? Agaposi, it's a fun word to say. Agaposi means they love. Okay, so we gave you that one. What does de mean?
butter,
Okay, so it means but or and.
Okay.
Okay. Ton theon. How did you translate that?
Let's back to that old. Mm-hmm. In. On.
To me, they.
Oh,
Okay. So ton is the.
yeah, the.
Okay. Theon.
Cool. The. Okay.
God, yeah.
God. Yeah.
All right. So this is where knowing how to parse something starts helping us. Okay. So the word is God. But what is, if you parse this, what case is this?
Accusative.
Okay. Accusative, and I think somebody said masculine. Singular.
Singular masculine.
Okay. So you got this. So what is the subject of this sentence?
The subject is they.
Subject is they. Okay.
They.
And what role is God playing in the sentence?
It's who they love.
He's the direct object.
The direct object. Okay. So we take this is called a post positive. So it's after we take it to the front. Okay. So you get to pick which one you want. It does, without knowing the context, it's hard to say exactly which one it would be. So I'm going to say, but you finish it out for me.
But they love. But they love, well, love the God. But they love the God.
So if you want to be, this is why whenever you hear somebody say a literal translation is a good translation, they've not actually studied this. Because yes, the literal translation would be, but they love the God, which makes no sense in English. But the way you would translate this is, but they love God. You drop out the, because most of the time, 90% of the time, it doesn't make sense in English to have the before a proper noun. Sometimes, like the Christ, in those cases, it kind of makes sense. But 90% of the time, you're going to want to drop the out of proper names. But they love God. All right. Did somebody say something?
I'm sitting here talking out loud, sorry.
No,
She was just wondering if,
It's a
well,
different
I was looking at it for a whole different context if you said, but the God they love,
Then it wouldn't be a direct object though.
but then
Right.
God wouldn't.
It would be.
Okay.
It's no longer in the
I'm just trying to
accusative.
utilize the words in the way they put it in order. I was just looking at a different way of looking at it. But God wouldn't be the direct object then.
Yeah, in that particular sentence, it would become, but the God they love. It would then, first you'd have to change it from agaposi to agapotha, because that would be, it'd have to be passive in order for that sentence. But anyway.
Okay, well, anyway, just talking out loud, sorry.
That's fine. Has everybody done something?
Jerry had. Where's Jerry?
He's not here.
He's not here. Well.
Left at 8 o'clock this morning, where is he?
He told us he was coming with you. What's the excuse now?
I don't think they've touched down yet. They're probably about to in about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yep.
I guess one excuse is as good as another.
Yep. All right. I think I want to come back to here. Ralphie, translate this one for me.
The.
Okay.
Love.
Love.
The last one they have written down.
Yep.
It's patient.
All right. So how would you translate that? All right. What case is agape?
It would have to be. Would have to be feminine.
So it is feminine.
And what can it have to be nominative singular?
Nominative, singular, masculine. Okay. So what does that mean its role is in the sentence? So what is the role of the nominative in a sentence? What is the English equivalent? Usually. I'm speaking in generalities, but usually what is the nominative case doing in a sentence? Going back, we've got subject, object, or possessive. Which one is nominative?
Object. No, possessive.
It's the subject. So love is the subject of our sentence, okay? So it's the one doing the action. So what is the translation? So love.
Love. The. Where they have to be actual word is.
Love is patient. So this is our subject because it's the nominative. And the he, she, it becomes whatever is the subject, okay? In this particular case, because this is the nominative, this is technically the she in this case, all right? Love is feminine, so it's technically a she in Greek. Love is patient, okay? Sammy? So, epoesse is already translated for us, right? Just go through it. So this is already translated for us, so we got that. How would you translate this?
The word. The world.
Okay. Can you parse halagos?
Halagos, that would be nominative singular masculine.
Okay. And ton kosmon?
Accusative singular masculine.
All right, so can you translate that?
The word made the world.
The word made the world. Everyone see how Sammy got that? The nominative is our subject. The accusative is our direct object. The he, in this particular case, is the word. So whenever you move this to the normal position of a verb, which in English is the middle of the sentence, halagos comes to the front, Ton cosmon goes to the end because most of the time direct objects are at the end of the sentence. You get the word made the world. All right. Gregory.
Ezekiel wants to know if he can do this one.
Yeah, he can do this one. Go ahead, Ezekiel.
Ton means and Angelon means angel or messenger.
Okay. What is the subject of this sentence?
Would it be apostello?
So, sort of. Apostello includes the subject, which is I. Okay. So it's not stated, but it's included in this verb. Okay. So I send, and then you have to pick, right? So it's either I send the angel or I send the messenger. Good job, Ezekiel. All right. I'm actually going to have Victoria do this one.
Autoi is they. Nominative, plural masculine.
Okay.
Tantheon, God. Accused of singular masculine.
Okay.
So I guess you would parse it. They will see God.
Okay.
Or I mean, translate it.
Yeah. They will see God. The reason I wanted you to do this one, though, this is an example of that second autos rule. So I briefly mentioned this. I think it was one of the last things I said last week. If you have autos used in a sentence, because the they is already part of the verb, it's usually something that's being done for emphasis. It's not something that you can necessarily translate very well, but sometimes if you look at people, it's usually whenever somebody has done an individual translation, like in certain commentaries, they will do an original translation for whatever it is they're working with. They will put they themselves will see God, to kind of set off that, hey, whenever this was said, there was some extra bits to it other than what we have in English. So.
Okay, I have a question.
Yep.
Is it always translated like that? They themselves.
I'd say in almost every English translation, it's not translated that way. The only time I ever see it is whenever I'm reading like scholarly journals and upper level commentaries.
So if that occurred in a translation and we wanted to translate it that way, would that be okay?
If you wanted to do your own translation, I would do it. I think it's a big disservice that most of the translations that we have completely ignore syntax, and they try to keep words without necessarily keeping meaning. And I think sometimes, like I said, that does a disservice for somebody who wants to intensely study things. I've seen like the NRSV, I've been looking through it recently. They have tried to do some of that, but even it falls short. The NRSV is the one that sometimes people call the scholarly translation. That's a bit of a stretch, to be honest with you. But I will say that there is a move toward this, at least in an academic setting. A good example is the Anchor Bible Commentary Series, the ABC. That's put out by Yale. They actually don't build themselves as a commentary series. They actually built themselves as a translation, and all of their ones are called a new translation and commentary, and they have tried to do some of that. So anyway, if you're interested in looking those up, I almost always find them at bargain bins because they're written at such a high level, very few people can actually understand them, and they usually end up being assigned for, like, I know, what's the Baptist school in Nashville? Starts with a B. Belmont uses them in some of their classes. So I found them at McKay's for like $3. Okay. So this is to show you there is value in doing this, other than just learning how to translate things. There's things that you pick up on by reading this that you wouldn't get in a translation. All right. Gregory, you want to do this one?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
So, tain is the. Agape is that love.
Can you parse it?
Is it accusative singular masculine? Or would it be neuter?
Close. What's the lexical form?
Agape.
Okay. And what letter does that end in?
Eta.
Okay. And words that end in eta or alpha are what declension?
First declension.
And first declension words are usually
feminine.
Okay. I know that was a roundabout way, but that's the thinking process I want you to go through. Okay. So translate this for me.
Pursue love.
Pursue love. All right, one final question, and this is open to anybody. What person is Diokheta?
I don't have any idea.
It's second person. If I do it, it's first person. If I tell you to do it, it's second person. If it's talking about something else, it's third person. Not important right now, but when we get to verbs, it will be. So whenever it's a command in this particular form, it's second person.
That was very smart, and we all should have known that answer. Right?
I have gone over it a couple times.
No, because it's a command.
Yes. Second person is, in English, second person, or a command is always in the second person in English. That's not necessarily true in Greek, but in English, a command is always in the second person. All right. 4 more. And coincidentally, there are 4 people in Woodbury. Interesting how that works out. All right.
Okay.
Who wants to start us off?
Group effort.
Yeah, we'll do this
That's
group.
fine. That's fine.
Okay.
This,
All right. So we've got,
the season has come and the kingdom has drawn near.
okay. I would say for this particular one, time is probably better. That's more my personal opinion. If you said season, I wouldn't mark it wrong, but that's the way I would say it. So you said the time /
time.
season.
Yeah, time has come and the kingdom is near. Is that kingdom?
Yep. Kingdom. And it's this right here. Has drawn
Near.
near. Okay. Can you parse ha kairos for me? Anybody?
Where's he at?
That one.
That one, which one?
That one's nominative singular masculine.
Okay. And can you parse hey basileia?
Nominative singular feminine.
All right. Any other questions on that one?
That's one. Time has come and there's no the time has come and the kingdom is drawing near.
All right. These are both subjects because this is a compound sentence. Okay. Next one.
He's finished the Christ.
The Christ.
Christ spoke to his speech.
That's logos, words.
Okay. So start off. We'll just so translate ha Christos.
Christ.
Christ.
And tous lagus.
The words.
Yeah.
What do you say?
The words.
The words. All right. So parse ha Christos.
The words of Christ.
Christ finished the word.
Okay.
Christ is
So-
your.
Yeah.
Go ahead and parse Christos so we can
There's
kind of put
a
this together.
Non-live masculine.
Non-singular masculine. Tous lagus. Parse that.
Logos is
I think somebody said it. Take that out.
singular.
accusative plural masculine. Logos.
Okay. Accusative plural masculine. All right. So that makes this our direct object. And
The word.
you could, like I said before, you could put the Christ because Christ is technically a title. It's not a name. So Christ finished the words.
Christ finished the words.
There is another way that this is usually translated. Do you guys know where this comes from? It's not a full sentence.
I don't know, other than when he said it is finished. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of, but no.
Mission. Finished what he come to do. No, finished the mission.
I'm making sure I'm telling you right.
Oh, okay.
Because this is a marker. I'm trying to make sure this is the exact phrase, because it's yeah. So at Matthew 7:28 is where this comes from, and a lot of versions put Christ finished the sayings or these sayings. So kind of going to start adding some nuance to your definition. So the word words or the term logos is a very broad term. I've mentioned this before. It can mean idea. It can mean statement. Anyone know what the Decalogue is?
Something having to do with 12.
That's dodeca. Deca means 10.
Oh,
Log.
10.
It's the 10 commandments is the Decalogue.
10 Commandments.
Yeah. So this term logos has a broader meaning than just words. So you could say when that Christ finished the statements, Christ finished the words, Christ finished the sayings. And something else that I think is the ESV that I was looking at, a lot of times whenever it's very obvious that this is supposed, that the word "the" here is referring to something that would be what we call a near demonstrative, or it could be a far demonstrative too. Sometimes this will be translated as this, these, that, or those. Those are all acceptable definitions of the article. It depends on the context. So probably the best would be Christ finished these sayings. That would probably be the best English, because that's what, whenever we talk about somebody finishing a speech or something, we usually don't talk about the words. It's correct. It's just not how we usually talk about that. Okay. I think I looked it up that there's 20-something different definitions for words. Sorry, give me 1 second. Something's going on with our display here. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
What are you seeing on your screen?
We see just the screen that says waiting to view. Quentin's screen says meet now.
Okay, give me a second. There's something. You see the PowerPoint now?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's back.
Okay. One last step. Alexa, change to HDMI 3.
Okay.
Okay. 2 more sentences. Whoever wants to do this one, go ahead.
Lay it out.
The man that they know, that they
And
love
that they
the
know.
man that they know. They believe they know the man that they love. Huh? It says he is.
That they know,
Is
love him.
Let's just take it in pieces, okay? So let's do it like this.
Good.
All right, so what's this?
The Christ. The Christ.
Okay. Can you parse it?
Accusative, singular, masculine.
Yes.
All right. So this is already translated for us. They believe. Histousin. That's fun to say, isn't it? Histousin. Okay. All right. Oi anthropoi. What's that?
The person, the man. The
Anthro-
people,
Okay. So it's
person. Yeah, the people, person.
can you parse that?
Because oi is nominative plural.
Nominative plural masculine. Okay. What does haughty mean?
That because that or because.
That, since, because. We'll come back to that. So because or since or that, we'll have to pick one, but since, you can kind of look at this and say, since they know or because they know is probably what we're going to be doing, right? Everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Tain agapain.
That's the love.
The love.
Okay. And what is the parsing for that?
Accusative, singular.
Okay. And autu is his.
His.
If anybody cares, that's genitive singular. Okay. So let's break this down. What is our subject?
The people.
Okay, so the people. Okay. What are the people doing?
Great object.
The people believe.
Believe. Believe what?
Christ.
What comes next?
Because they know his love.
Everybody see how we did that? So this is our subject. It comes to the front. This is our direct object. This one section here is one clause. This is our second clause. We put them together after we get our pieces translated, and we get one sentence.
Okay.
All right, last one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll start here. What's this?
Okay.
But,
Okay, but paulos. You know what paulos means?
Paul.
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 So it's a masculine.
That's just a name.
Paul.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it would probably be your subject.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
but Paul. What's that?
Said.
But Paul said.
Okay. We got this so far, but
I sent something, the message.
That's the message, yes.
Is that what it was?
anyone know what aulus means?
That's
Any
not,
thoughts?
Mm-mm.
oh, that's not it. Oh.
That's,
Oh,
other,
yeah.
or another.
Okay.
Other messenger or apostle?
Okay. So it's apollus.
O-U-S, accusative plural, apostles.
Okay. So I said other apostles. We haven't really gotten into this yet, but this particular word is acting like an adjective, and adjectives must agree with whatever they're modifying in case, number, and gender. We see aulus, apostolus, sorry, aulus, apostolus. Okay, it agrees in case, number, and gender, has the same ending. Therefore, you know that this is modifying this. What if I would have said apostolus aulus? If I said apostolus aulus, what does that mean?
It would be the same, it'd be other apostles.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's
It
just the
doesn't
word
matter
orders.
Yeah.
Exactly. Means the exact same thing. All right. So here's my bigger question. Everyone said it was kind of hard, right? It is kind of hard. Did you realize that you knew more than you thought you did?
Yes, surprisingly so.
The fog is still there. Maybe it's just not as dense as it was.
Well, I will say, he even says in his little lectures, you can expect the fog for 3 chapters. If you've only got a little bit of fog, or I don't know, if 50% of the fog is gone, you're actually doing better than he would expect you to. So just keep that in mind too. All right. So you guys have this stuff to study. You can ask me questions about it. The quiz will be 1 week from tomorrow on this material. Okay? Everybody got that? I've already made up the quiz. It looks like it's going to be 3 parsing and 2 sentences. There is no vocabulary on it, but the vocabulary is kind of part of the parsing. Does that make sense? Because the last part of the parsing is going to be, or the lexical form is part of the parsing, and then the definition is part of the inflected meaning. So we kind of are going to do vocabulary that way. Okay? Feel free to email me any questions.